Welcome back to my YouTube channel, where we unlock the secrets of rare and extraordinary treasures, diving deep into the riveting world of collectibles and the untold stories behind items of immense value, whether born of brilliance or, in some cases, mistakes. Today, we are going to discuss a seemingly common coin that has garnered unimaginable worth in the world of numismatics, a 1991 $quarter coin that has stunned collectors and investors alike by achieving a potential valuation of $197 million. That's right, a single 25-cent piece bearing the D mint mark for Denver has grown in fame, not for its face value, but for a series of incredible, rare, and even improbable minting errors that have transformed it into one of the most sought-after artifacts in American coinage history. Strap yourselves in as we take you on a captivating journey exploring the factors, errors, and circumstances that turned what most would overlook as a pocket change coin into an absolute legend. The 1991 $quarter, like all Washington quarters minted from 1932 onward, was struck as part of the usual production run aimed at fulfilling the United States' need for functional currency. Denver, being one of the primary mints, produced millions of coins that year, and you'd be forgiven for assuming that most quarters struck in 1991 had nothing particularly unique about them. After all, they were standard in appearance, composition, and utility, composed primarily of copper nickel-clad and designed with the iconic bust of George Washington on the obverse, along with the heraldic eagle on the reverse. However, if we've learned anything about coinage over the years, it's that some coins defy normality due to rare errors that occurred during production, and the 1991 quarter is a brilliant and baffling example. Unlike most other coins from that year, this particular quarter features a dramatic and highly unusual set of minting defects, a convergence of mistakes and irregularities so improbable, it seems as if the universe conspired to create a treasure hidden in plain sight. At first glance, it might seem like an ordinary coin to the untrained eye, but close inspection by numismatists revealed a variety of unprecedented and mesmerizing errors that together make this coin an unparalleled collector's item and a jaw-dropping anomaly. The first and most noticeable error on the 1991 quarter is the doubling of key design elements on the obverse, also known as a double die error. A double die occurs during the hubbing process, when a misalignment between the die's imprints design elements twice, offset from one another. This creates a distinct doubling effect, particularly visible along letters and numbers. On this specific coin, collectors report clear and sharp doubling on critical inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date 1991. This doubling, especially when it's crisp and legible, sends the value of the coin skyrocketing in collector markets. Such a pronounced error is incredibly rare, as the United States Mint is exceptionally meticulous in detecting and correcting such flaws before coins enter circulation. But in the case of this 1991 quarter, the doubling slipped through, creating a standout feature that makes the coin utterly unique amongst millions of others. To compound this situation, the reverse of the quarter, home to the classic heraldic eagle design, also bears anomalies. While double die errors are not evident on the reverse, other irregularities such as die cracks and die breaks are prominently present. Die cracks occur when the hardened steel dies used to strike coins develop hairline fractures from prolonged use or internal stresses. On this particular quarter, these cracks appear prominently across the wings of the eagle, creating a spidering effect that not only disrupts the aesthetic integrity of the coin but also makes it instantly identifiable to seasoned collectors. Die cracks, while relatively minor on their own, gain tremendous value when paired with other significant errors like double die anomalies on the obverse, making this 1991 quarter a masterpiece of flawed production. It doesn't stop there though. This coin's litany of mistakes goes well beyond striking errors. Metal composition inconsistencies have been detected in particular specimens of the 1991 quarter, representing another layer of rarity. Normally, Washington quarters from this era are composed of an outer layer of copper nickel cladding bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a shiny, silvery appearance while retaining the necessary durability for circulation. However, metallurgical testing on the anomalous 1991 D quarters revealed unintentional variances in the alloy composition. Some specimens were struck on planchets containing significant deviations in their copper-to-nickel ratios, resulting in off-coloration, unusual weight, and even unexpected magnetic properties. Coins exhibiting such unusual traits are highly prized, as they raise fascinating questions about how such flawed planchets escaped stringent quality control procedures at the mint. But the errors don't end with striking or composition issues. Physical misalignments and striking anomalies further contribute to the legend surrounding the 1991 D quarter. Certain specimens display striking misalignments, where the obverse and reverse designs are not correctly centered. This can happen when the dies used to strike the coin are not properly aligned with the planchette during the striking process. The result is an off-center strike, leaving one edge of the coin with elements of the design almost truncated while the opposite edge appears excessively wide. Off-center strikes are instantly recognizable and are highly coveted, especially when the error is as distinct and visible as it is on these quarters. But what truly sends the value of these quarters to unimaginable heights is the discovery of broad strikes. A broad strike error occurs when coins are struck without the limiting collar die that usually keeps the planchette in place during striking, causing the coin to spread out larger than its intended diameter. This gives the coin an oversized and distorted appearance, amplifying the physical irregularities to the delight of collectors. The extraordinary nature of combining off-center features or broad strikes with other aforementioned errors like doubled dies, die cracks, and alloy inconsistencies makes the 1991 D quarter practically a 1 in a billion find. Adding yet another layer to its stunning uniqueness, the mint mark itself, the iconic D denoting the Denver Mint, is not immune from scrutiny. On some specimens of the 1991 D quarter, the mint mark shows evidence of a repunched mint mark, RPM, error. This occurs when the mint mark punch, applied separately from the main design dies in earlier coinage production processes, is misaligned or applied multiple times, leaving faint, offset impressions underneath or alongside the main mark. Collectors love RPMs because they are easily visible under a magnifying glass, making them one of the most recognizable types of minting flaws. The presence of an RPM on this already error-laden coin elevates its appeal even further. What makes the 1991 D quarter particularly special is that it embodies not just one or two of these errors but a cascading series of mistakes, combining to create a layered artifact that is simply unmatched in modern numismatic history. Such a multitude of unique errors on a single coin is virtually unheard of, and it is this synergy of intricacies that makes the coin not just a marvel of minting blunders but also a hypervaluable asset. Now, you might wonder, how did a coin with so many mistakes manage to escape the mint's rigorous quality control procedures? And how did it make its way into the hands of collectors? The answer lies in the sheer scale of the mint's operations and the complexity of its machinery. The Denver Mint produces billions of coins annually, and even with advanced technology and diligent quality assurance staff, occasional errors can and do slip through the cracks. What sets this particular coin apart, however, is the magnitude and variety of errors it exhibits. The chances of so many mistakes appearing simultaneously on a single coin and yet making it into circulation are so astronomically low that one could argue the existence of this 1991 D quarter is akin to winning the lottery, not once, but several times in a row. The market value of this coin, as currently appraised at $197 million, is driven not just by its errors but also by its sheer scarcity and the legendary lore surrounding it. In the world of coin collecting, rarity, condition, historical narrative, and the interest generated among collectors combine to determine a coin's value. The 1991 D quarter satisfies all these criteria beyond comprehension. First, its rarity is undisputed because very few, possibly less than 5 verified specimens, are known to exist with such a profusion of distinctive errors. Second, its condition plays a vital role. The highest graded specimens of this quarter that retain sharp details and minimal surface wear have the greatest monetary value, as collectors and institutions are willing to pay premiums for perfectly preserved examples. Third, the narrative behind the coin, including its accidental creation, subsequent discovery, and media coverage, adds layers of intrigue and desirability. Finally, the massive interest and competition among high-profile collectors, auction houses, and numismatists drive the bidding wars that have inflated the coin's theoretical market value to $197 million. It must also be noted that the coin has transcended its role as a mere currency or collectible and has become a symbol, a cultural artifact that raises questions about value, mistakes, and the hidden treasures lurking in everyday objects. To this day, collectors scour collections. Next, 1986 $quarter coin, where we embark on an exciting journey into the captivating universe of rare coins, exploring the mysteries, histories, and astonishing values of forgotten treasures lying quietly in circulation or sealed away in private collections around the globe. Today, we focus our lens on one of the most fascinating and intriguing numismatic anomalies within the realm of American coinage, the 1986 $quarter coin, a seemingly common piece that has shocked the world by being valued at an incredible $193 million because of its extraordinary minting errors, mistakes, and the remarkable possibilities it offers to collectors and investors alike. The 1986 quarter, minted in Denver and routinely struck in millions, was part of the normal annual coin production, similar to many other quarters produced during the mid-1980s, a time when the United States Mint was continuing its established tradition of minting the Washington quarter with its vivid representation of George Washington's profile on the obverse and the soaring eagle on the reverse, a design that had been in consistent circulation for decades. Yet, what makes the 1986 quarter a coin of immense value and attention is not its design or its metal composition, which was the standard copper-nickel clad introduced since 1965, but rather a series of rare, complicated, and fascinating errors and minting mistakes that inadvertently occurred during the coin's creation, resulting in a coin that is a rare marvel treasured by collectors worldwide and appraised at nearly $200 million in value. These errors and mistakes, rare for their nature and extent, are not simply slight imperfections or anomalies but are grand in scale and complexity, encompassing a variety of minting flaws that together transform this ordinary quarter into an extraordinary collectible. Let us begin by exploring the first and one of the most visually stunning mistakes, the double die error found on multiple elements of the coin's design. A double die refers to a misalignment during the die preparation process when the die receives more than one impression from the die hub, with slight shifts between impressions, causing significant doubling effects on various design features. For the 1986 quarter, this doubling is most prominently seen in the inscriptions on the obverse, including the date 1986, the mint mark D, the word liberty, and the national motto, "In God We Trust." Close examination of authentic specimens reveals clear shadows or doubled lines, particularly on the numerals and letter edges, providing a surreal, almost three-dimensional effect. Such doubling is exceedingly rare in quarters of that era, as the mint's quality controls normally eliminated these dies long before mass striking began, so the survival of such coins is exceedingly limited, amplifying their desirability and rarity for enthusiasts and investors. But the doubled die is just one piece of the puzzle. Many examples of the 1986 quarter also display what is known as die clash errors on the reverse. A die clash error occurs when the obverse and reverse dies collide forcefully without a planchette between them, imprinting fragments of each design onto the opposite die's surface. As these clash dies are then used to strike coins, they leave ghostly impressions or partial overlapping images on the coins themselves. On the 1986 quarter, such die clashes can manifest as faint but distinctive outlines of parts of George Washington's portrait visible on the eagle side or vice versa. While these images are subtle, they are unmistakable under magnification and are highly coveted by error collectors, as they exemplify a minting flaw that is historically fascinating and exceedingly uncommon. The next significant set of errors involves die cracks and die breaks, physical defects that occur in the steel dies due to wear and stress used during striking. On certain 1986 quarters, these cracks developed over time, casting raised lines or fins on the coin's surface that break the continuity of the design. Die cracks can appear as hairline fractures or more pronounced jagged interruptions on features like Washington's profile, the date, stars, or within the eagle's feathers. In some coins, these cracks accumulated to form large die chips, sections of the die that physically broke away, leaving more substantial raised bumps and lumps on the struck coin. The presence and patterns of these die cracks and chips provide numismatists with invaluable clues to the coin's history and the minting process itself, and such coins have seen surging demand, with more pronounced errors being exponentially more valuable. Adding to these mechanical mistakes, the 1986 D quarter also presents off-center strikes, where the coin's design is noticeably displaced from the center, typically caused by improper feeding of the planchette into the press or misalignment of the dies. Collectors profoundly appreciate these errors because they deviate from the standard, symmetric coins seen daily, and the more pronounced the off-center percentage, the higher the coin's value. Especially rare are quarters with severe off-center strikes exceeding 50%, where part of the image might be missing entirely, revealing a plain metal edge on one side. These are not only eye-catching but quite scarce relative to the total production, contributing significantly to the coin's rarity and valuation. Another fascinating error linked to the 1986 D quarter concerns the planchette itself, the blank piece of metal before striking. Standard quarters were made from clad planchets, involving layers of copper and nickel bonded securely. Yet on some versions of this coin, coins were struck on defective planchets featuring lamination errors, incorrect metal layering, or improper thickness. These manifest as peeling, flaking, or uneven metal layers on the coin's surface, sometimes partially exposing the copper core or causing discoloration. Planchette errors are among the most attractive to collectors because they strike at the very foundational materials of coinage, making such coins incredibly rare and historically significant. Moreover, certain 1986 D quarters bear what experts identify as broad strike errors, meaning the coin was struck without the usual collar die that confines the planchette during striking. This causes the metal to spread outwards beyond the intended rim size, resulting in an oversized coin with a somewhat distorted appearance. Broad strikes for quarters are exceedingly rare, with those combining broad strike features with doubling, die cracks, or off-center strikes being rarities of the rarest kind. The unique combination of all these errors in a single specimen makes it one of the most valuable collectible coins known today. Furthermore, the mint mark itself has presented anomalies rarely seen. Examples of doubled or repunched mint marks, RPM, have been discovered on the 1986 D quarter. These occur because the mint mark punch was inadvertently struck multiple times in slightly different positions, creating faint secondary mint marks near or overlapping the principal D. RPM errors are instantly recognizable and prized in error collecting, particularly on quarters, as they provide insight into the historical minting techniques and human error during die production. Collectors value such mint mark varieties tirelessly, often paying premium prices to acquire them. One cannot overstate how astonishing it is that so many separate errors, doubled dies, die cracks, die clashes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, planchette issues, and mint mark anomalies, have all been found in conjunction on 1986 D quarters. While individually any of these errors might be interesting, the convergence of multiple mistakes on a single coin or batch creates an aura of rarity that transcends the ordinary and catapults the coin into the realm of extremely valuable artifacts. Such a confluence of errors is statistically improbable, given the mint's efforts to catch defects and flawed coins during production and post-striking inspection. Yet the surviving specimens exist, and they have ignited a flourishing market of enthusiasts and investors willing to pay extraordinary sums to own these rarities. Turning to the valuation aspect, how does a 1986 D quarter reach a theoretical or estimated market worth of $193 million? The answer lies in the blend of rarity, condition, documented provenance, market demand, and historical interest. The rarity of this particular era coin is supreme. Despite the colossal volume of quarters minted annually, the following of serious numismatists and the mint's quality control eroded many flawed coins long before they reached circulation or collector hands. Remaining specimens with the full suite of errors are extraordinarily few, no more than single or low double digits, if even that. The scarcity exponentially inflates the coin's value, especially when coins exist in high grades with well-preserved detail and minimal wear. Condition grading, assessed by professional bodies such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, can dramatically affect a coin's price. A mint state, MS, grade coin free from circulation where can command prices millions of dollars higher than a well-worn example. Additionally, when notoriously rare errors like the 1986 D quarter with multiple mistakes show up in mint state condition, the bidding at auctions can become feverish, almost driving prices beyond conventional rationality. Provenance is another crucial factor. Coins linked to notable previous owners, discovered in historically important hoards, or accompanied by rigorous grading reports that attest to their authenticity and describe their errors in detail gain enhanced credibility and desirability. A 1986 D quarter with extensive documentation and a compelling story of discovery will naturally command higher prices,